As you can see from the boxes here, that I've recently took delivery of a bunch of fish, right? And added probably 6 big fish into the pond. Um, in addition, also added 35 little Dainichi fish. So I am doing a massive grow out in my pond right now. It's covered up with a tarp. It actually does help with the temperature. So I'm gonna do a quick reading. I want to see what it is right now. As you can see, it can be, sometimes it's 57, sometimes it's 58, but for late January, and where the majority of people, they're in the winter season, here I am, feeding the fish from 4 a.m. in the morning all the way up until, that airplane is really annoying. Anyways, feeding from 4 a.m. up until 10 p.m. So feeding them all throughout the day, and I did a water test. Normally, when I add a bunch of fish, I have to do a water test, and I don't have a concern right here. You see, everything is very good. Nitrate is very low, nitrite's low. When you add a bunch of fish, though, I think the ammonia for that level is between 0 and 0.25. That's really good. So for me, I'm not concerned. Seems like the pond is capable of supporting a tremendous amount of fish and feeding this time of the year despite being cold. And as you probably know, when it's cold, typically nitrification isn't that effective, but with the tarp, the fish are really healthy. They are growing. The auto feeder has been doing its job. You can kind of see that V shape right there. That's how much food has been dispensed, because I've been dispensing it quite a bit. And water quality is very good. I haven't changed the water in over 2.5 months. The nitrates are so low, I don't feel the need to do it. I am going to keep the tarp for a little bit longer, possibly until the end of March or April. That way I can maximize the growth of the fish. But as you can see, I've got a lot of going on here in this pond, and I'm not seeing a lot of problems at the moment. I think when you overdo the filtration, you end up having extra capability or capacity for just having coin. And the growing rate, so far my observation is that they're growing based on how much food I'm feeding them. I've noticed in the last 2.5 weeks, since increasing the food, I've noticed, some of the smaller fish have been growing a lot faster. So it's all about feeding, good water quality, and once you manage all of that, stocking density, you can really go crazy with it. So over here in my pond right now, let me see, I know for sure I got well over 100 fish. Well, the majority of them being babies, that is, but it is a highly stocked highly stocked pond, and I'm not too concerned. As you can see, with those good water parameters, I am really pushing it to the limit. And the good part is the system is able to handle all of this. The filter is taking it out. Don't need a lot of excessive water change. And once I have my next project going, I'll be able to slowly transition the bigger fish into this right here. So this right here is the next phase, and I'm still trying to figure out where to place all the filters and how to do the pipe work. But slowly draining this and starting to clean up. I'm thinking about putting it back there, and have water come from the side, going into the pool in the front, pushing everything down towards the lower end. So that's my plan. It's probably gonna take me the majority of the rest of the next 5-6 months to complete this, but it will be interesting. And with this size, I'll definitely be able to put a lot more bigger ones on, and I can't wait to grow out more. I'm getting even more shipment coming in to grow out from Dainichi. So sometime by the end of next month, February, I'll be adding more and transferring out the big ones. Hopefully, probably by the end of March or so, that's when I foresee myself getting this thing up and running. It's not going to be too elaborate. It's just going to be pipe, filter, and more oyster shells. See that right there? It's going to put a bunch of bins and oyster shells. Because as you can see in my system, it works really well. Too bad I got this tarp on, and it is kind of a hassle to take it all out just to show some videos, but if you saw the stocking density, and the water results, you wouldn't believe it, but here it is. Good water flow rate, good filtration, good bio, feeding 14, 15 times a day. It's kind of extreme, but if it works, it works. Now, obviously, my goal right now is to grow out some more. Trying to get some of the Dainichi to be about 20 plus inches by the end of next year. Actually, I should say by the end of this year. We're in 2023, I keep forgetting. But I'll keep you guys updated about what's going on here. I definitely want to see the result when the weather starts to warm up. Right now, it's hovering around. The pond water is hovering around 57, 58, 59 on a hot day. In the winter, it might get up to 60, but it's really stable, so it keeps it throughout the night, and that's what makes me really happy about it. So I think this tarp is really helping. Minimal, but it helps. So this is about 3 days after adding in those tosai and the 6 shiro usuri, which accounts for a high volume of, well, a high total proportion of the fish in the pond. Basically, I added like 41 fish in there. Obviously, 35 baby ones don't make a big difference, but the 6 shiro, they're like from 16 to 20 inches. So I was kind of monitoring the parameters of the pond water. Just want to make sure everything was okay, and what we're seeing here is the KH result. That took 8 drops to get to that color, so we're at about 150-ish KH, 140, 150, which is fine. I add about 2 cups of baking soda every week, so it kept it up. The pH is good, between 7.5 and 8. Ammonia is very low, close to 0. Nitrite is 0, and nitrate is also 0. So the system as a whole is adjusting well to the mass volume of fish that I added. I don't recommend you adding 1/3 of the total volume of fish into the pond at one time, unless your system is stable enough. So in my system, because of the excessive filtration, I'm able to add that much into the pond and feeding from 4 a.m. all the way up until 10 p.m. at every hour increment. And the water parameters right here is, to me, this is about as good as it gets. I mean, we're talking about winter time. The temperature is between 57 to 60 degrees, depending on the day. And excessive feeding, a lot of volume, high stocking density, but this is a really good sign that things are very stable. So I've been doing it. I've been using PP and baking soda, no water change for the last 3 months, no problem. I don't really see the point of changing water when you have parameters like this. So good filtration system. A lot of filtration system is what's gonna allow you to have high stocking density. It's just that simple.